Let's just jump right in with a wild question. What if you could read minds? Seriously, forget the sci-fi stuff, forget the superpowers. What if this was a skill you could actually learn right now?
Well, here's the thing. You can. We all do it all the time. It's not magic. It's a skill, and it's called inference. And today we're going to break down exactly how it works.
So let's start with what we'll call the art of reading the unseen. This is all about what people don't say. It's about understanding the world that exists just beyond the spoken words. It's fundamental to how we connect with each other.
Okay, let's do a quick warm-up. Picture this. You see a student, let's call him Jordan. He shoves his books into his bag and then slams his locker shut. Not a single word is spoken. It's all just action.
So, what's your gut feeling? What's the message there? You have the clues, right? The shove, the slam, they're not exactly subtle. You're probably thinking, okay, he's angry or frustrated. Maybe he just failed a test. See? You just read his mind. You use the clues.
All right, let's try another one. A little more subtle this time. You say hi to Maya in the hallway. She gives you this tiny little smile, but her eyes never meet yours. They just stay pointed at the floor. This one's a bit trickier, isn't it? That tiny smile could mean anything, really. But when you pair it with the downcast eyes, the clues start to point somewhere else. Maybe she's feeling shy or a little sad, maybe even embarrassed. It's the combination of clues that really helps us make the inference.
Okay, last one. Take a look at Liam over there. He's standing at the very edge of a group of friends. He's nodding along with the conversation, but he isn't saying a word. So what's going on with him? He's there, but he's not really there, you know? Does he feel left out? Is he just more of an introvert, happy to listen? We use these little social clues all the time to try and understand what's happening on the inside.
So now that we're warmed up, let's take this to the next level. We're going to deconstruct a little story and see how we can build a really solid inference, piece by piece, almost like a detective on a case.
Okay, here's our scene. All we're told is this. Janelle reads a note, and then we get this very specific sequence of actions. She folds it once, then again, slips it into her pocket, and just walks away. The story doesn't name a single emotion. All we have are her actions. So how do we crack this? Well, we use something called an inference chain. Let's break it down. Step 1 is the clue. She folded the note slowly, deliberately. Okay. Step 2, what does that suggest? It suggests she's being careful, right, or thoughtful. So that leads us to step 3, the inference. She's probably processing something important, maybe even difficult news. See how that works? It's a logical chain. And that really brings us to the core definition. Inference is just that. It's the skill of using these small, observable clues, like a slammed locker or a slowly folded piece of paper, to understand a much bigger, unseen reality. It's about seeing the story behind the story. Now, this is where things get really interesting. We've seen how inference works in our everyday lives. But what if that same skill, that same logic, applies to something much bigger? Let's explore how seeing the unseen in people connects to believing in the unseen in life. This whole idea is anchored in a really famous verse from Hebrews. It says, "Now faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen." Now pay really close attention to that one word, evidence. In this view, faith isn't just a blind guess. It's presented as something built on evidence you can see.
And here's the aha moment. Look at how these two ideas are compared. On one side, we have inference, using clues you can see, like a slammed locker, to understand a feeling you can't see, anger. Then on the other side, faith is framed in a similar way, using evidence you do have, like creation or personal testimony, to trust in a reality you can't see, like God's promise. The idea here is that it's the same mental muscle, just working on a different scale.
There's a really fascinating story from the Gospels that paints this picture perfectly. After the resurrection, 2 of Jesus' friends are walking with him, talking with him, but they have no idea who he is. They literally don't recognize him. It's only when he sits down to eat and breaks bread in a certain familiar way that it clicks. Suddenly, their eyes are opened. A tiny, familiar clue revealed a world-changing truth. So the takeaway from this perspective is that huge truths are often wrapped in these quiet, subtle clues. And it takes a certain kind of awareness, what the text here calls faith-filled eyes, to actually see them clearly. So let's bring this all home. Why does any of this matter?
What's the point of learning to read the unseen? It really comes down to a philosophy of, well, listening with your heart.
The source material for this lesson is actually built on a pretty specific philosophy. First, that just being smart isn't enough, that education without morality can actually be dangerous. The whole goal isn't just to be clever, but to be wise, to avoid choices that cause pain. And it connects this kind of spiritual mindset directly to a sense of peace, citing a passage from Romans. And this quote just sums it all up so beautifully. Not every truth is spoken. Sometimes it's in the sigh. Faith listens for what others miss. It's a call to a deeper kind of attention, to listen for the things that other people might just gloss over. So, we'll leave you with this final thought to chew on. The most important truths in our lives are often the unspoken ones. So the question is, what are you listening for?